All right, let's talk about something that sounds super complicated but is actually an amazing tool for just about anyone, a trust. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Isn't that just for billionaires? Nope. It's for anyone who's serious about planning for the future. And at its heart, it's really all about one thing, making sure your legacy is secure.
So let's just get right to it. Have you ever stopped and thought, how do I really protect my family's future? Make sure that everything you've worked so hard for is safe and sound for them? Well, that is the big question, right? And it's exactly the problem that a trust is built to solve.
Okay, so what is a trust, really? Well, at its core, it's a special legal relationship. But honestly, it's much easier to think of it like a little three-person play. It's a clever way to separate who legally owns something from who actually gets to enjoy it. Sounds interesting, right? Let's meet the cast of characters.
First up, we have the settlor. You can just think of them as the creator. This is the person who kicks the whole thing off. They're the one who says, okay, this property is going into the trust, this is who it's for, and hey, this is the official rulebook for how it all gets managed. They're the visionary, the one in charge.
All right, next we've got the trustee. This is your manager, the legal guardian of everything in the trust. Their one and only job is to follow the creator's instructions perfectly and take amazing care of the assets. And let me tell you, this is no casual role. It comes with some of the most serious legal responsibilities you can find. It's a huge deal.
And last but definitely not least, we have the whole reason for this entire setup, the beneficiary. This is the person or maybe a group of people that the trust is for. They're the ones who get the good stuff, the income, the assets, you name it, all based on the plan the creator originally laid out.
Okay, so we've got our players. But how do you actually make one of these things legit in the eyes of the law? You can't just shake hands on it, right? It needs a really solid, logical foundation to actually be valid.
This is where something called the three certainties comes in. Think of these as the three non-negotiable building blocks. For a trust to hold up, you absolutely need, first, certainty of intention. You have to be crystal clear you actually want to create a trust. No fuzzy language. Second, certainty of subject matter. What exactly is in the trust? The property, the money, it has to be clearly identified. And third, certainty of objects. Who's it for? The beneficiaries have to be identifiable. I mean, it makes perfect sense, right? If any of these are missing, how could a court possibly enforce it? They wouldn't know what you wanted, what property to manage, or who to give it to.
All right, so the trust is set up, it's legal, it's ready to go. Now, what's on the trustee's to-do list? Well, it's not just a few simple tasks. Their role is governed by what are called fiduciary duties. And that phrase is a big one. It means they're held to the highest possible standard of care in the eyes of the law. Seriously. You can think of this as the trustee's ultimate handbook. They have to stick to the trust deed, be super careful, be fair to all the beneficiaries, keep meticulous records. All of that is crucial. But really, it all boils down to two absolute core principles: loyalty and not making a profit for yourself. Let's dig into those a little more. So first, you've got the no conflict rule, and this one is a deal breaker. A trustee simply cannot, under any circumstances, put themselves in a spot where their own personal interests might clash with their duties to the beneficiaries. Their loyalty has to be 100% totally undivided, no exceptions. And this goes hand in hand with the first rule. It's the no profit rule, and it's exactly what it sounds like. A trustee is strictly forbidden from using their position to make any unauthorized personal gain. The whole point of the job is to serve the beneficiaries, not to line their own pockets.
Okay, but what if they don't? What happens when a trustee messes up and fails to meet these super high standards? What if they break the rules? Well, as you can probably guess, the law does not mess around here, and it gives the beneficiaries some pretty powerful tools to fight back. This is what's known as a breach of trust, and it can cover a whole range of things, from outright fraud to just making a really careless investment decision. And the consequences? They are severe. The trustee is personally on the hook to repay any loss, straight from their own pocket.
But the beneficiaries aren't just left helpless. They have a secret weapon, a kind of financial superpower, if you will, and it's called tracing.
Let's walk through a quick example to see how this works. So, imagine a trustee takes money from the trust, which is a huge no-no, and goes out and buys a fancy new car for themselves. Okay, so the actual cash is gone, right? It's been spent. But its value is still there. Tracing is the legal process that lets the beneficiaries follow that value.
So they can point to the car and say, hey, our money bought that, even though it's not cash anymore. And this is where it gets really powerful. They can go to court and claim the car itself as trust property. They can say, that's our car now. And why is this so important? Well, imagine the trustee is bankrupt. If you were just a regular creditor, you'd be in a long line waiting for many pennies. But with tracing, you get to jump the queue and claim the actual asset. It's a total game changer. So that's the general idea of a trust. But let's bring it home and look at the Malaysian context, because things here are pretty unique. We have this English common law trust system sitting right alongside a really sophisticated framework for Islamic wealth planning. And this table lays it out really nicely. See, on one hand, you've got the common law trust. Its superpower is flexibility. The creator gets to write the entire rulebook from scratch. But on the other hand, you have Islamic instruments. You've got wasiat, like a will but with specific Sharia rules. You have hiba, which is an irrevocable gift you make while you're alive, and waqf, for setting aside property for charity, forever. These are all guided by Sharia principles, so they have a more defined, rule-based structure. So, after all that, what's the big takeaway here? It's that a trust is so much more than just a dusty legal document. It's an incredibly powerful and flexible framework for protecting what you've built and taking care of your family. And the best part? It's all wrapped up in some of the strictest legal duties out there, making sure your exact wishes are followed to the letter. And that really just leaves us with one final thought. Now that you see how it all works, you know the players, you know the rules, you know the powerful safeguards, it really makes you think, doesn't it? How could you use a structure like this to design a plan that truly protects what and who matters most in your life?